to all the people present here.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Yusuf Shirazi Sahab, members of the management team of University, participants, faculty members, ladies and gentlemen. It's my singular honor and privilege to, first of all, express my deep gratitude to the Equus Group and to Mr. Shirazi for providing this opportunity to IBA to be of service to one of the large indigenous corporations in Pakistan. And one of the strategic objectives of IBA since I've taken over is that we cannot remain an island by ourselves. We have to serve and try to expand and share our knowledge for practical application to the business houses, particularly those of Pakistani origin. That's one of our objectives. And I'm so happy that Mr. Shirazi responded to this particular request of mine to allow us to train the 30 young men and one talented woman at IBA. This is the starting point for our endeavor to transform Pakistani companies into multinational corporations. If Indians can do it, why can't we do it? And this is my aim as a Pakistani, that we should have at least a dozen multinational corporations. And I give this challenge to all of you that Atlas should become one of the multinational corporations in as early as possible. I do not want to prescribe any timetable, but I leave it to you. And we would be at your beck and call to help you. Mr. Shirazi mentioned about the cost. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no cost as far as human resources are concerned. It is an investment. And the investment is just like capital, that you incur the expenditure initially, but the benefits accrue to you over a long period of time. And this is the new concept of investment in human resources. In a knowledge-based economy, which we are all going to struggle with in 21st century, the more knowledgeable your human resources are, even the person on the floor shop at Atlas Honda, the more you're going to benefit for your company and for your country. So please do not consider this as a cost center. Please consider this as an investment. And if you are convinced that the returns of the investment are commensurate with your aspirations and objectives, please go ahead. And I'm not pleading it for IBA. I do not think I'm so parochial that I only think in the terms of IBA. I think in the country's terms. Whether you go to X or Y, or and LUMS is a very fine institution, NED is a very fine institution, UED is a very fine institution. I think you should completely recharge the batteries of your human resources in their professions and some of them in general management. And this should be a continuous upgradation of skills throughout their lives, not just for this into a conglomerate of 7,000 people in a diverse set of activities. IBA would like to write a case study, and I hope that your management team would cooperate with us in writing this case so that we can teach our students as to how they can also be inspired and motivated to start their own companies and build it up into a large conglomerate. This is a lesson we want to teach our students because we're moving towards more emphasis on entrepreneurships. Entrepreneurs create multiple jobs. An employee creates only one job. Therefore, our emphasis is that in business management, we should create opportunities for entrepreneurs who have a multiplier effect as far as job creation is concerned. Everybody will not be entrepreneur, but at least we will provide them the opportunity. So I invite you and your management team to consider this proposal of mine that we would like, and we would be very happy to write a case study on your group as to how a family-based group has really reached this particular pinnacle of excellence. Let me share with you something which I read very recently, that there has been a study carried out by a faculty member of Harvard Business School which compared the performance of the family-based companies with those of the other non-family public listed companies from US and Europe. And they found that the family-based companies, or family-controlled companies as they call them, did extremely well in this crisis of 2009-2010 compared to the public listed companies. And the reasons are very, very clear, that instead of going for the short-term quarterly results to please the stock exchanges and the shareholders, the family heads and the family groups had a long-term vision. And because of that long-term vision, they were able to take decisions which did not lay off the people, which did not remove the technological base because you want to cut down the cost. So you say the technology is costing us too much, so let's cut it down. They continued the investment in capital, in technology, in human resources because they had a longer term vision. And when the economy came out of this trough, the family-owned or controlled companies had a higher rate of return on their investment, and their survival rate was quite high. The companies which had made a difference were those where the ownership and the governance structure of the board was still dominated by the family members, but the management was entirely professional, and they delegated the responsibilities but also held them accountable for results. So you have supervision, you have the strategic thinking, you have accountability, but you allow the professional managers to carry on the business in the best way. And if they deliver, you reward them. If they fail, you remove them. And that is the lesson of the successful companies, even within the subset of the family-controlled companies. So I thought I will share that with you because this is a very important finding which has come through, because previously there was a consensus